Power boom boom, power boom boom boom, power boom boom, power boom boom boom.
Thank you very much. She really gave a real short version of what's been going on since actually the fall of '09. We've had a relationship with Daycon for over 30 years, and primarily our contracts expire every 3 years to be renegotiated, because there's never a perfect contract out there, and things always change, so contracts always have an expiration date, which gives the union and the company an opportunity to go back to the bargaining table and tweak the contract and make adjustments where they're needed. What has happened in this case, we started in negotiations in November of '09. The contract actually expired in January of '10. We continued bargaining after that even because we don't want to strike. We want the people to keep working and protect themselves, their jobs, and their families. Well, it came along in April. We were at a bargaining session and with federal mediation, which we suggested, and we were in a federal mediation location in Hanover, Maryland. And you were absolutely right. We gave fresh proposals to the company. The company, quote, went down the hall to crunch numbers, and they disappeared on us. Well, we filed unfair labor practice charges with the National Labor Board. Okay, they're the ones that govern the bargaining process. Through a long process, we had trial in November of last year. We got a decision in February of this year that Daycon illegally declared impasse. They illegally implemented the terms of the contract when they walked out. They had some contract terms on the table. They illegally implemented those. We have been on strike since day one and called this an unfair labor practice strike because of the gross violations of labor law that the company had committed. The company position was it's an economic strike, and therefore the workers aren't protected. They only have recall rights unless the company actually needs them. Anyway, excuse me, the labor board found them guilty of all charges. They ordered them back to work, full back pay, continue bargaining, and move the process forward. Daycon's appealing it. We are now at the federal level in Maryland here seeking an injunction to try and force Daycon to do the right thing. Daycon evidently hasn't had enough yet. And we appreciate the concern of all you guys, because when she asked who knows what's going on with Daycon, the majority of the room raised their hands and knows what's going on. Just for a little bit of background, for those that don't know, Daycon is the largest janitorial maintenance supply company in the Mid-Atlantic region. And they supply everything to the university or for here, from nuts and bolts, tissue paper, floor waxing compounds, anything that you can think of that is a janitorial or maintenance product. Daycon supplies this university. And the university is one of Daycon's largest customers. So we've been working on it for a long time. I know the students have been working on this case for a long time. We just kind of wanted to give you an update of where we're at. This is corporate greed. It's not like Daycon is not a $50 million a year corporation. They've never one time claimed that they're not making money, that they need concessions or anything else. They just believe that they're right in what they're doing. And right now, I got to believe, they got to be getting to the point where they think they're wrong in what they're doing, because all arrows are pointing at them. They've not won one thing. They filed a whole lot of charges against us for our actions, and all charges have been investigated and dismissed. So we've been totally exonerated. The workers have been exonerated, and but Daycon still refuses to do the right thing. And we've been, April 26th of this year will be a year that we've been on strike. So anything and everything that y'all can do, we appreciate it. I know you've done several things already. I know Daycon's feeling the heat, but we know Daycon has salesmen out here too, just about every day, that's dealing with the higher echelon in administration of the university, and they're probably cutting them deals, they're probably reducing prices, they're probably doing everything and promising them everything, that everything's going to be all right, just stick with us, just stick with us. So we know that. Go ahead, got a question?
How have you been able to financially support yourself throughout this last
year? Well, actually, I work for the union, okay, so I'm an administrator to the union. I was the lead negotiator on the union side, so, but I do have 3 strikers here that are on the line, and currently, because that we were right, we got the state of Maryland has granted them unemployment. So they've been existing on unemployment. And then our international union in Washington, D.C. also has what's called a strike fund. And so we got a little strike fund at the International that the guys are paid a stipend weekly to continue their strike activities. But in the meantime, when you're on strike, and some of you probably already know this, you lose your medical insurance the minute you walk out, or the minute you're forced to walk out. And those are some of the things that a couple of our members can talk about over here, because it's devastating. It's really devastating, not just on the striker, but their families. And we've got strikers out there now that have been evicted. We've got strikers out there now that have serious medical conditions that can't get their medicine or can't get their eyes fixed. And we've got several issues out there. We've got Ronnie over here. I'll let him speak in a second. If you know, he has in the past. I'm assuming he will again speak of how the strike has affected him, and Mr. Boone as well. Before I turn it over to him, any other questions, background information? Sure.
I have one question. Certainly one way to strip power away from unions, which we're seeing at the national level, is just to take away your right to collectively bargain or your right to strike.
Exactly.
But in this case, we have an intact union with intact collective bargaining rights. And what you're saying is that a court ruled against Daycon,
Yes.
finding that what they're doing illegal.
Yes.
And they're still saying, we don't care, you're not the boss of me.
You're absolutely right.
You know, paralleling this to some of the stuff that's going on in Wisconsin, where, you know, people are just violating the rule of law.
Right.
So when you have a legal process in place, what do you do when a company just says, well, we don't have to obey the law?
Well,
like, in theory, we live in a democracy, so what do you do
in theory, yes.
in this context when the company you're working with, the court rules in your favor, and the company just says, whatever, what do you do?
In this area, the federal court, 4th District of Maryland, is overseeing this, and that's where we went to get the injunction. We went to get the injunction based on the testimony at the NLRB decisions, okay? When the National Labor Relations Board makes a decision or a determination, the enforcement branch is federal courts. So now where we're at, we've applied for the injunction, we've had a couple different hearings. The federal judge right now hasn't given us a decision. I don't know if it's good or bad. I keep hope alive and thinking that she's going to give us the right decision. But I think she's got the thought that the NLRB process is working because Daycon still had an appeal left, and she wants to let the clock wind down and see how the appeal turns out. You know, the purpose of an injunction is to do something quickly to stop the bleeding and upright the ship so we can get back to the bargaining table and put the people back to work. She hasn't ruled against us. We're hoping that she rules for us. And again, at the end of an appeal, at the end of this somewhere, the federal court will seek justice with Daycon, either impose fines or penalties and things like that. So at some point in time, I think people even go to jail for refusing to do the right thing. So there's a couple administrators at Daycon I'd like to see where it comes. We're not there yet. So. Anything else? Sure.
What can we do if we don't have anything to do?
Well, right now.
We'll talk about what people in the University of Maryland community can do at the end after we hear from the workers. We'll talk about what we've been doing and what the next steps we have that we really want people here to get involved in.
I thank you for that question, but legally and things like that, we have to be real close because we've done everything right so far. We don't want at a late point in time have somebody say that we had suggested something that you all can suggest that might be inappropriate for me to suggest. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Ronnie, I'm going to start with you, Ronnie, and unless there's other questions, and if there are other questions after Ronnie's done talking, I'll answer them.
Sure.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This strike has affected me in more ways than I've been affected in my life. Right? Number one, I have diabetes real bad, and I have hypertension. Right? And I also needed some more operation and stuff, right? Because when they first went on strike, I was in the hospital. So I didn't cancel my insurance, took me out of the whole thing. I have no insurance to have these operations done. I have no insurance to proceed in getting my medicine and stuff, right? So I have to really sometimes borrow money from my sisters or something like that to get my medicine and stuff. And this thing is a real strain on us. So all the help and support that I can get from y'all to push Daycon in the right direction, I sure appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Mr. Boone?
almost on the same basis that my brother here said, and the young lady here said, that we was on strike now 11 months, 26 of this is going to be a year. And I'm in the same situation that no insurance when they say you couldn't come back to work. I'm willing to work, able to work. And at the same time, you know, for eyes, for my eyes, cholesterol, I can't get any medicine because I don't have the money to really pay for it. I would have to borrow the little funds that I had saved up that were going towards my retirement when I would leave Daycon. All that just about spent up. I have to borrow money sometimes to pay the house note or what have you. And, you know, I'm wondering, you know, like it was stated, the laws, we have laws here in the United States of America and governed by those laws. And I keep wondering to myself, I'm not a lawyer, a judge, you know, how can a person continue to get away like Daycon, as rich as they are, and doing the things that they do to people that help build that company? We are the workers, help put Daycon where they are. And when they pushed us out, they brought in some people, didn't work there before, as we call scabs off the street, no background, whether they'll save people to work around. And they're saying they're doing the same work that we are doing. I can't believe that. I've been there 16 years, and I never had been written up for anything about my work. I know how to do it. I work overtime when they ask. I work later than I was supposed to. I had no problem. And I wondered, I said, now what have I done for you to do this to me? And you say, we're a company. You know, I don't know where you ever been in my shoes before. And I don't mind staying. I'm willing to go back and work for the company and rebuild it over if that's what it takes. And I'm not only doing it for David, or for my family. Someone have to pave the road. You all is following behind me. Come August the 9th, I'll be 66. I don't want you all to get caught in the trap that I'm in, if there's any way possible. So I want you all to fight for what's right for the human race. It's not about the color, creed, or where we came from. This is the United States of America, and they say this is a free country. We are the leader of the world. And I want you all to stick with us. You have done it in the past, and I appreciate it 100%. And I want you to continue to do that. Do what is right in your heart. Once you get your company, some of you could become billionaires. Don't do like Daycon, which is John Pooh and Bobby Combs. Treat your people right, because they're the ones that will make you. He can't feed everybody in that company. He may be the CEO, but he can't take all the orders. He can't drive all the trucks. He can't put all the product away. He can't receive it in. And I thank you all for allowing us to be here to say what we have to say, and you continue to fight for us, and I appreciate it. Good help us. Thank you.